Good evening. My name is Sue Smerrick, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Washtenaw County. I welcome you to our forum this evening featuring candidates for the Michigan House of Representatives District 32. The candidates will be on the ballot in the primary election on August 2nd. For more than 100 years, the League of Women Voters has worked to expand voter rights, educate voters, and shape and influence legislation at the local, state, and national levels. We are pleased to sponsor these forums. The League is a nonpartisan civic organization that encourages informed and active participation by all citizens in government. The League works to increase understanding of major public policy issues and seeks to strengthen and broaden knowledge about our form of government and democracy. While the League does not support candidates or parties, we do support stands we have taken on issues we have studied. One of the League's most important goals is to assist voters in making informed choices at the polls, and thus we bring you tonight's forum. Our moderator this evening is Jeffrey Smerrick, who will explain the format.
Thank you, Sue. And now it's my honor to introduce two of the candidates running for the Michigan House of Representatives, District 32, Robyn Lynn McCoy and Jimmie Wilson Jr. 4 additional candidates are also running in the Democratic primary for the Michigan House District 32. 3 of the candidates, Marshall Averill, Roderick Casey, and Isaac London, are participating in a separate forum session in order to provide all candidates with ample time to respond to questions. Candidate Carol Smith was invited to participate in the forum, but did not respond. Thank you, candidates, so very much for participating in this forum. The forum will have this format. Each candidate will have an opening statement of up to 1 minute. Each candidate will have a closing statement of up to 90 seconds. In between, I will ask questions which came from the community. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to a question. 2 minutes. In addition, at appropriate times, the timer will raise a sign on her screen indicating the time remaining, 30 seconds, and then stop. If you have used up your time, you will be allowed to finish your sentence, and then your microphone will be muted so the other candidate can have an opportunity equally to participate. Now to our opening statements. We're now ready for your opening statement, Ms. McCoy.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for inviting me out to this forum. And my name is attorney Robyn McCoy, and I have been practicing for 20 years as an attorney. I was born and raised in this community. I was born in Washington Square. I attended ECDC, Cheney Elementary School, St. Francis, and graduated from Father Gabriel Richard High School. I also graduated with honors from the University of Chicago, and I graduated with my law degree from the University of Michigan. I'm running for office because I want to help people on a mass level. I've been committed to social justice and public interest. So I want to help fix the roads, deal with the gas, food, the host of issues that you can find on my website at robynmccoy.com.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. And now, Mr. Wilson, may we have your opening statement, sir?
Yes, thank you. I'm Jimmie Wilson Jr., not only born and raised here in Ypsilanti, but a lifelong member here in the Ypsilanti community. After graduating high school, I attended the Michigan Institute of Aviation and Technology, where I obtained my license as an airplane mechanic. Shortly after, I transitioned into renewable energy, working for Siemens Energy, building wind turbines from the ground up. After Siemens Energy, I started working at Ford Motor Company right here in the Ypsilanti area, where I currently I'm an electrician, and we are building hybrid batteries and all electric batteries. We're going to probably address a whole lot of issues this evening, but some of my top issues are around affordable housing, education funding, mental health funding, and a plethora of other issues. So thank you, League of Women Voters, for always having these forums for our voters.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson, and thank you for your candidates and for your opening statements, which brings us to the questions. As a reminder, I will read the question once, and it will not be repeated unless requested. We will start with Mr. Wilson for the first question. As a result of the 2022 redistricting, it's possible that there may be a shift in the composition of the Michigan legislature. On what two significant issues do you think the legislature could reach a new consensus?
Yes, thank you for that question. To reach a new consensus, I will say that after this primary election, if I am successful and the voters select me, I'll be helping other districts to turn out Democrats and take back the House. The top two issues will be around gun rights, gun laws, also women's reproductive rights. This is going to be two issues that are going to come right here to the state of Michigan. Also voting rights as well.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And Ms. McCoy, same question to you.
Yes, I would say I think that if there is a shift, that definitely women's reproductive issues, you know, I'm pro-choice, I'm a pro-choice lawyer and pro-choice candidate. So I think that that would be a key issue where there could be a consensus. And I think that there could be a consensus on the road issue, the issue about repairing the roads.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. And Ms. McCoy, you have the next question. In your opinion, are voting rights under assault? If so, what steps should be taken to protect voting rights, including the voting rights of people of color?
I do think that voting rights are under assault. You know, for me, I've been doing voter protection as a lawyer. I've been volunteering and doing election protection. Actually, started doing some nonpartisan election protection with our current Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, back during the time that Obama ran for president. So I was doing, before that, I was doing it was partisan, where I was doing election protection. And in the last election, I was doing election protection. I was helping people to cure their ballots. I was helping them to just make sure that they knew where they needed to go to vote, and to address any issues that were arising at the clerk's office. I think that voting rights, I think we should have it as a holiday, so everybody has the ability to vote, so that they're not hindered by their jobs or by issues with lines, long lines, and defective equipment. So I think that we need to do everything as possible to make sure that everybody's right to vote is protected. I think that there is an onslaught. I mean, we've seen across the nation, there are laws that have been passed to restrict people's access to voting.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Mr. Wilson, same question to you, sir.
Yes, our voting rights are definitely under attack. And I would say that we need to educate our residents, our constituency, to let them know how they're under attack. Currently, there are a couple of petitions out to really try to protect our voting rights. We need to make it a constitutional right to vote, because currently that's not in our state constitution. And this is one of the petitions that's out there. Also, we need to make it easier for people to vote and stop putting up barriers in the way for people to have access to the ballot. So these are going to be some of the things that need to be addressed on day one. But yes, our voting rights are under attack, and we need to make sure that we're kind of like what the League of Women Voters is doing, is always making sure that people are aware of their voting rights. And thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Wilson, you have the next question. Please explain your stand on gun safety laws in Michigan. What achievable steps would you take to address community concerns related to Michigan gun safety and gun violence?
Yes, unfortunately, Michigan is not the best on some of our gun laws. I think we rank dead smack in the middle, 25th in the nation on the strength of our gun laws. We need to put in place red flag laws. We need to put in place stronger background checks. We need to eliminate the use of ghost guns, or at least try to limit it a lot more. Because right now, currently, you can purchase different pieces to a firearm and put it together in your home, and it's not even tracked. So we need to put things like this in place. And of course, there's a plethora of other issues that we can put in place, making dealer licensing required, tracking or tracing guns, banning assault rifles. And there are a few other, we can actually do a lot right here in the state of Michigan. We don't have to wait on the federal government to do it. We can actually take care of it right here in the state of Michigan. And I'll be dedicated to doing that.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And Ms. McCoy, same question to you.
Yes, I think that, I actually agree with some of what Mr. Wilson, or most of what he said, is that we do need to have better background checks. We need to have red flag laws. We need to have a ban on assault weapons. I know that we've had that in the past in the nation, and there was it made a major difference. We have children out there that have died, that have been slaughtered in their school, in their classroom, which should be one of the safest places for them. And so I think we need to do everything possible to make sure that guns do not get into the hands of people who are violent or who have severe mental health challenges. We need to make sure that we have mental health centers all across Michigan. As a criminal defense attorney, I see often a lot of people that are coming through the criminal justice system that are struggling with severe mental health issues, drug addiction, poverty issues. And if we need crisis management. If we could do some intervention, I think we can head the path. Like I know what we've seen with a lot of situations with people who are with the mass shootings is there's been a history of bullying, and we need to make sure that we just create the vehicle for people who've been bullied to get to speak about it, to have crisis intervention and make sure that there are supports in place, and that they shouldn't be getting access. We should raise the age for access to weapons to 21. It should not be that an 18-year-old, the adult brain doesn't fully mature to the age of 25, 26. So for a person to get access to a weapon at 18, I think it's just not a good idea at this time.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. And Ms. McCoy, you have the next question. Please identify the top 3 concerns that citizens in House District 32 have expressed to you. If you are elected, choose one of these 3 concerns and describe the steps you would take to address that issue.
Okay, so, I've been out talking to folks and doing the door knocking. So I would say in the district, the top 3 issues that have been identified to me have been public safety. They've expressed concerns about that. They've expressed concerns about affordable housing. That's been a big concern. And the other issue is there have been concerns about just making sure that there's supports in place for infrastructure. And then I'll pick one of them. One of as far as infrastructure, the roads. Yes, we have a few areas where they're improving the roads, but the roads really are subpar, substandard. I've had a number of times that I've had cars that the tires have been damaged. The cars, I've had to go through cars, and the roads are just it's unacceptable. So I definitely want to make sure that I join the legislature and help the governor to just on a mass level, just fix all the roads, the infrastructure, the bridges, the housing. I was walking through downtown Ypsi and you could see some dilapidated houses and things of that nature. And there are families, there are kids, there are children that are in these environments. And so we definitely want to make sure that they have the best sound structure as possible. You know, I was blessed. I grew up in Superior Township to have a house and, you know, just the right supports in place. So I want to make sure that everybody has that.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Mr. Wilson, same question to you.
Thank you. Top three issues, like I kind of mentioned in my intro, is what I've heard a lot around this district is affordable housing, mental health funding, and our education system. The one I'll highlight the most is our education system because it is the foundation of our community. Folks want to see more social workers in our schools, psychologists. We knew that mental health was a big issue before the pandemic. However, during this pandemic, it's been exacerbated and folks really want to see more help in that area, especially within our schools. Our teachers need better pay. If anybody's like me with children at home, you understood that before the pandemic, teachers were very important and you knew the stress of their job, but trying to, you know, homeschool children during the pandemic, during the shutdowns, we had an even greater appreciation for our teachers. They need to be compensated well. We need to address some of our busing issues by getting our bus drivers more pay. Also, bringing skilled trades back into our schools. This is another avenue for our children if they may not want to go to the college, university level, offering them another option of skilled trades or potentially even IT certifications while they're in high school. If they do choose to go to colleges or universities, we need to make college more affordable. In the 90s, prior to that even, we actually funded our colleges and universities a lot more than what we are today. So our education system is a priority. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Wilson, you have the next question. Please describe a specific example of how you made a difficult decision because of a core value that you hold to be very important.
So I would say that being an elected official currently in Ypsilanti Township for the past 6 years, there have been many decisions that have had a lot of community engagement. As folks come out and express themselves, I may have one particular mindset on a particular issue, but as our citizens voice their opinion, I always make sure that I am treating our residents as if they are my boss, basically. I am only there to represent them and the wishes of the people. So I would say one of the biggest, I would say one of the things I had to have a core value on would be around partnering with Habitat for Humanity to really get more affordable housing in the community. Some folks thought that affordable housing would mean we would have, you know, they had a certain stigma around the types of people that may be in these homes. But I knew that affordable housing is a key to really stabilizing our neighborhoods and really helping people live here in Ypsilanti and maintain their homes in Ypsilanti. So our partnership with Habitat for Humanity has been actually has turned out very well, and people are actually satisfied with that now, that decision to make sure that we are paying attention to renovating homes and really stabilizing our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And Ms. McCoy, same question to you.
Yes, as I indicated, I've been an attorney practice for 20 years doing indigent defense. And I had a client that had some severe mental health and cognitive issues. And I made the decision for him to be evaluated by the forensic center. And they evaluated him and they deemed him competent to stand trial. And, you know, sometimes some attorneys will just go ahead and let them rubber stamp and say, okay, he's competent. But I was like, no, no, no. So I made sure to get an independent evaluation of my client. I pressed the issue. We had to have a special hearing for that. And he was deemed incompetent. I still pressed and pressed and pressed. And we ultimately, we worked out a resolution where he was not criminally charged. He was in adult foster care. He had been exposed to lead poisoning. He'd been in foster care as a child and had some severe cognitive and mental health challenges. And so, I really was just like, we've got to do our best. And that, and I do that often. With prosecutors, they can, they'll tell you, I press, especially if I really feel that they're not getting things right in a situation. And that's what I pledged to do in Lansing. I'm a doer. I get things done. I do educational programming for the public to make sure they understand their rights, because I often get burnt out seeing a lot of people coming in the court system and then they get a lesson while they're in a jail cell. So so for that specific instance, I really pressed and we were able to get victory for my client, and he's back in adult foster care home where he should be getting all the supports that he needs.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. And Ms. McCoy, the next question goes to you also. In 2020, coal and natural gas provided 59% of all electricity generated in Michigan. Should Michigan increase the percentage of electricity generated by renewable sources? If so, how should that increase in renewable sources be achieved? And how should we address environmental and aesthetic objections to wind turbines and solar panels?
I definitely think, you can see if you go to my platform, I talk about climate change and making sure we have clean water, things of that nature. So I am definitely very pro environment. I have nieces and nephews. I have, cousins that are younger, and I think we need to do everything that we can to protect our environment. I understand there's coal and natural gas that's out there and there's a dependence there, but I mean, look at what's happening now with gas. Gas, I filled up my gas tank today and it was $67, and we have to look at alternatives. I think we need to set some deadlines, some times for us to switch over as quickly and as efficiently as possible to look at electricity and renewable energy, because I don't know if you've seen the Mad Max Under the Thunderdome, but it's like we're looking at that future rapidly approaching us. There's fires out there. So I think that we need to set timelines. We need to connect with the League of Conservation Voters and their platforms and just work to achieve a greater climate and a greater environment for ourselves and for our children. We need to just get the big three. We need to just rapidly focus on that, on energy efficiency, so that we'll actually have a future for ourselves and our children.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Mr. Wilson, same question to you, sir.
Yes, thank you. As you heard in my intro, I definitely have a background in renewable energy. So advocating for renewable energy, making sure we're investing in clean renewable energy, offering subsidies to our residents, to our constituencies for solar panels. So that way we can make them affordable for them. This will help get us off of some of the coal and natural gas. Everyone deserves to have clean, safe water. This is also a part of the environmental concerns. I know that we still have some lead pipes around the state. We need to upgrade these existing infrastructures because this is also a part of climate change as we get heavier storms and flooding. This is also brought on by climate change. So we need to make sure we're funding renewable energy properly and giving subsidies to our residents, our constituencies, so they can afford to get into solar panels and other types of renewable energy.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And this will be our last question. The last question to both of you first goes to you, Mr. Wilson. According to the Detroit News, the state of Michigan has a budget surplus in the current fiscal year of $6 billion with a B. What should be done with the budget surplus?
Yes, I would say this is a great chance to really tackle some of the issues that we've mentioned here today around infrastructure. We've talked about it so much over the past few years. This is a great chance to really invest into fixing our bridges, our roads. This is also a chance where we can invest into affordable housing. This will also be a chance for us to invest into that renewable energy that we were just talking about a minute ago. We can really tackle some big things around the state of Michigan. So these would be some of the things I would try. If that surplus is still hanging out there when I take office, I would definitely be championing some of these issues.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. And Ms. McCoy, same question to you, ma'am.
Yes, I mean, I agree. I think we definitely, I mean, you know, as I walk around the district and I talk to people, we definitely, you know, we have the roads. We need to make sure there's affordable housing. And I'm an educational advocate, so I'm seeing firsthand the effects on general ed and special ed students of the pandemic. And so we need to make sure we pour our resources into education and the teachers, make sure that the teachers are getting a fair and equitable wage. You know, I teach at EMU, and I think, you know, I think it's important that our children are our future, and it's important that they get a good quality education. We have to compete with other countries. We want to make sure that they're getting all the supports that they need, that they're getting the mental health support that they need so that they can be strong and get jobs. And, you know, as I talk about in my platform, whether they're getting job skills training, to go to vocational school or to college, that we just do all that we can to nurture our young people so that they can thrive and be successful, that we deal with the issues with the climate change, water. You know, I have relatives that are in Benton Harbor that are affected by the water, and we need to make sure that we test all the water in our district, and make sure that we get rid of the old pipes. And you know, like I said, my client, he was affected by lead poisoning, and it resulted in him having permanent damage to the point that he couldn't even take care of himself. And I know that there are children in Flint that have had that effect. So I think Michigan is a beautiful state, and that we just need to take all the tools and resources to make sure that we develop everything for ourselves and for our children.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy, and thank you both candidates for your excellent answers. And this brings us now to the closing statements. We will begin with Ms. McCoy for your closing statement.
Okay, again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for giving me this opportunity to have this forum and talk to you. My name is Attorney Robyn McCoy, and I'm running for State Representative in House District 32, which is the city of Ypsi Township, parts of Pittsfield, and parts of Superior Township. And I have had experience as a congressional page. When I was 16, I interned in the office of Senator Kara Mosley Braun, and I most recently was a legislative assistant in the office of State Representative Ronnie Peterson, who is endorsing me in this race. I have been committed my whole life to public interest and social justice, and I've been fighting for people in the courtroom. So I want to take my fight, my skill set, and bring it to Lansing to fight for you. So, you know, I would appreciate your vote. My website is robynmccoy.com, and it has my phone number on there. I'm accessible. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. I'm also on social media, Robyn McCoy, MI, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And I'm the vice chair for the Michigan Democratic Women's Caucus, and I'm the president of Black Women Lawyers in Michigan. And again, you know, I would just appreciate your support. You know, there's a host of issues going on right now. We've got to deal with gas, gun safety. I mean, it's the whole, we're in crisis mode. I mean, and I've worked with crisis management in the past. And so I think that I would be the ideal candidate to come in and help deal with all of these crisis situations that we're dealing with now. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCoy. Thank you, both candidates, for your wonderful closing statement, but I want to make sure we don't leave out Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, please excuse me, sir. May we have your closing statement?
Thank you. I'll just say once again, thank you, League of Women Voters, for having us. If you want more information about myself, you can go to JimmieWilsonJr.com. I'll just mention that if you value experience, I'm the only candidate who has served in elected office, having been elected in 2016, re-elected in 2020 in Ypsilanti Township. If you value workers' rights, I'm the only candidate endorsed by the majority of the labor unions here in the area and around the state. If you value public schools, I have the endorsement of every school board president in the county, as well as here in the Ypsilanti area. If you value civil rights, I'm the only candidate endorsed by the Michigan Democratic Party Black Caucus, LGBTQ elected officials, mental health professionals, criminal justice reform activists as well. If you value progress, the only candidate endorsed by the Young Democrats of Michigan, the Youth Caucus, as well as the Cannabis Caucuses of Michigan. Again, you can get more information about me at JimmieWilsonJr.com. Coming with a lot of experience, a lot of support around the community. Thank you again, League of Women Voters.
And thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. Forgive me for trying to cut you off. I do apologize. Nobody should ever cut you off. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for your closing statement. Thank you, Ms. McCoy, for your closing statement. And thanks to all of you for participating in this valuable session. Sue will now provide closing remarks.
The League thanks both candidates for participating in tonight's forum and those who contributed questions. Our candidate forums are available for streaming on your computer or smartphone. Go to our website, lwvwashtenaw.org, and look for the link to the programs. In addition, the forums can be viewed on Ann Arbor's cable television news channel 13. Please urge your family, friends, and neighbors to watch these forums and share the links with them. For additional nonpartisan information on candidates and ballot issues, go to vote411.org. The League Voter Resource Guide covering local, state, and federal candidates, as well as current proposals that will appear on your ballot. As a reminder, all voters are now eligible to cast absentee ballots. In addition, while voters are encouraged to register ahead of time, Michigan law now provides for election day registration at your clerk's office. So just remember, whether by absentee ballot or in-person voting, be sure to vote in the August 2nd primary election. Good night.